When we think about life's biggest questions, we usually hunt for a single, simple answer. But what if the real key to happiness or to distress isn't just one thing, but a choice between two? Today, we're going to dive into what you might call an ancient Buddhist book of twos and see what it can teach us about the choices we are making every single day.
Just think about it for a second. In your own life, are you moving towards contentment or conflict? Towards serenity or stress? These ancient teachings suggest the answer isn't some grand destiny. No, it's a series of small choices we make, moment to moment. And it all starts with the very first fork in the road, how we experience the world around us. So, our first pair of choices is all about how we live. Are we guarded or unguarded? Now, this isn't about building walls around ourselves. It's actually about how we manage the very gateways of our experience, our senses.
Okay, so this ancient framework has something you might not expect. The mind is considered a sense. In this view, thoughts and ideas are things we experience just like sights and sounds. So we've got these 6 doors where absolutely everything enters our awareness: the good, the bad, the overwhelming. The first big choice is, do we just leave these doors wide open, or do we stand guard? Well, the consequences couldn't be more different. The texts describe an unguarded life as a burning path. When our senses just run wild with zero moderation, the result is this constant internal feverishness and stress. But on the flip side, guarding those same doors and practicing a little moderation, that leads to a life of ease and peace. It's a simple choice, really, but with 2 profoundly different outcomes. Okay, so if the first choice is about what we let in, this next one is all about what we put out. This pair focuses on the internal echo of our actions, that feeling we're left with long after we've done something. And it can either feel like a heavy weight or a wonderful sense of lightness. And the text is incredibly direct here. It says that unskillful actions, or even just failing to do good things, leads to torment. This is that constant nagging voice of regret, right? It's a self-inflicted suffering that follows us around like a shadow. Just a heavy, burdensome feeling. But the alternative is really something. When we act with skill, with kindness and integrity, that inner voice just quiets down. There's no torment, no regret, just a mind at ease. It really shows how our inner peace is directly tied to the ethical quality of our actions. All right, now let's zoom out from our own personal experience and look at the big picture: society. The text proposed that there are 2 bright qualities, 2 inner guardians, that literally prevent the entire world from falling into total chaos.
In the original Pali, these guardians are called hiri and ottava. So hiri is basically our inner conscience, that internal check we feel when we even think about doing something wrong. And ottava is a healthy concern for the consequences of our actions, for ourselves and for others. Together, they are our moral compass.
And the vision of a world without them? It's pretty bleak. The text says we wouldn't even recognize basic family relationships or moral boundaries. Society would just collapse into chaos, becoming promiscuous like goats, sheep, chickens, and pigs. That's a powerful image of just how vital these internal checks and balances really are.
So this makes it crystal clear. These aren't just personal virtues. They're the very foundation of a decent, functioning world. Hiri and Atapa are like the bright threads holding the fabric of human society together, stopping it from completely unraveling. Okay, let's shift gears a bit from ethics to philosophy. Our next pair deals with our fundamental view of reality itself. And even here, there's a choice between 2 very common traps that cause a lot of suffering. The texts describe 2 groups of people. On one side, you have those who just delight in existence. They cling to things hoping they'll last forever, and they just refuse to let go. On the other side, you have people who are so disgusted by existence that they crave for it all to just end. They want total annihilation. Both are seen as extreme, unbalanced views. So the middle path, the path of the one with eyes, is simply to see what has come to be as it has come to be. Not clinging to it, not trying to run away from it, but just understanding its nature clearly without any delusion. That's the real path to freedom from these existential traps. This brings us to our final and, honestly, our most profound duality. It's the choice between the world we know, the world of cause and effect, of birth and death, and the possibility of an escape from it altogether. The text introduced this incredibly powerful term, ajata, the unborn. This points to something completely beyond our normal experience, a state that was never born, never created. This unborn is also called the unconditioned. Think of it this way. Our ordinary world is conditioned. Everything depends on something else, on a cause. This makes everything unstable and ultimately a source of suffering. The text argues that if this unconditioned reality didn't exist, a true escape from suffering just wouldn't be possible. But because it does, there is a way out.
And this escape is called nibbana, which itself is described in 2 stages. The first is nibbana with residue. This is where the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion are put out, but the body and senses are still functioning. The embers are still glowing, you could say. The second stage, nibbana without residue, happens at the final passing, when all experience ceases entirely. The embers finally grow cold and turn to ash.
So, as we've seen, from the simple act of eating, to our moral choices, to our deepest understanding of reality, this ancient wisdom frames life as a continuous series of choices between 2 paths, the path of stress and the path of peace, the path of torment and the path of tranquility, the path of bondage and the path of freedom. And this brings the entire explainer right back to you, right here, right now. It's not about a choice you made yesterday or one you'll make tomorrow. It's about this very moment. Looking at these pairs, which path are you on? Which one are you choosing?